So, I'm not allowed to use the I word on YouTube anymore. Or on Twitch, rather. Which is a little sad, but it's okay. This is a MGTOW channel. Tends to be creepy, so let's see what this guy has to say.
Man here. This video is brought to you by a donation from Her Meownificence, Fat Cat, and here's what she has to say. Hi Sandman, I don't know when I'll actually get back to watching your videos again. I had a routine checkup and they found something in my blood. The doctors are trying to find out if it's from a blood transfusion I received as a child. I was called to do a retest at the hospital. Even the people doing the blood test sent a letter to my house for me to do so. I called them because I never got a letter from them before. Everyone keeps telling me not to worry. They have a standard procedure for this. That really explains why everyone is up in arms again and no one can find the files they need. But don't worry, it's probably nothing. This sounds like people hiding something. I'm starting to trust that most people are incompetent no matter what type of degree they have. I'm too angry and upset to pay attention and be scared out of my mind. At this point I'm starting to wish that I was gullible and stupid. Yes, even I'm shocked at how freaking stubborn I am with regards to finishing this promise of sending you 9 donations with video requests. I'm failing at trying to distract myself. Since I'm probably not going to watch the video, I'd like you to make something on how to deal with the holidays when you're not feeling up to it. Yours truly, Fat Cat. Well, mighty meow meow, thanks for another donation, and hopefully you do end up hearing this and people don't lose their minds when they hear this donation and topic request from you. First of all, I find it ironic that a woman like yourself is having an issue with the holidays. Women generally love holidays and socializing with each other, while they metaphorically neuter all the males in the room and force them to interact with each other, even when they absolutely hate one another.
What? Why is that your takeaway? Why do you automatically assume all men hate each other and are forced to interact with each other? What? How unhealthy are your relationships with other men that you think all men innately hate each other? What?
Think about it this way. All the men at family social gatherings are only there because the women that they're having sex with basically want them there. Quite often they have nothing in common. They don't like each other and they're miserable because they don't have anything to really talk about besides the weather and how angry they are because it's the weekend and they'd rather be at home catching up on their sleep.
Oh my god. It sounds like this guy and all of the men he knows suffer from severe depression and are not getting treatment or something. Interacting with people at Christmas? I'd rather be home sleeping.
So they can get through another horrible week ahead of them at work in the veal fattening pens of the corporate world. No one asks men how to deal with the holidays. Most of us just keep our heads down and hope that the holidays never show up. For men, birthdays, Christmas, special get-togethers, and other reasons to throw a party are absolutely insane. We don't want to celebrate them. But for you ladies, you love your get-togethers with your...
Again, and I'm a trans woman. I can't speak for cis men, but like, I'm like Jake's, one of my closest friends. Jake enjoys get-togethers and parties. We get together and hang out with each other. He hangs out with Alex all the time, and they're both cis dudes. Like, does this guy not have any friends? Does this guy not enjoy interacting with, like, any other people in his family? What?
female
It's like he's projecting his own misanthropy on every other man in the world, and that's very unhealthy. He has a very low opinion of men if this is how he thinks men are.
Sisters, because it's one of those rare chances where women get to congregate together. Women enjoy being with each other so they can pretty much play off each other's drama. So long as any woman isn't singled out for too much of that drama, everything seems to be okay. Looks like this here, Fat Cat, they're probably going to be singling you out. For you, Fat Cat, the fact that your health is bad or perceived to be bad means that you'll be the topic of discussion at upcoming family gatherings.
People talk about people they care about.
You probably don't want to be singled out and become self-conscious, so I'd suggest that you pretend to be sick to avoid as many of these family gatherings as possible this year. I know that some of them you have no choice but to attend, but if I were you, I'd be feeling self-conscious, and I would just pretty much get out of there. At my family gatherings, I'm usually the butt of the joke. People feel good using me as a punching bag and shaming me and humiliating me. That's what being a man seems to be all about these days.
What? What are these guys? Now I'm curious if his family genuinely berates him in some incredibly unhealthy way, or if he's just perceiving that because he's like, like this. I'm very, I feel like this guy's whole view on the world is very, very skewed.
Having other people shame you so you don't go out there and better yourself. But when a woman is shamed, she doesn't actually turn the shame into creative energy. Instead, I find that she eats her way into oblivion and she becomes an emotional basket case, and she has to go out there and use other people as an emotional tampon to make herself feel better.
Wow, wow, wee, wow. That's a lot of really negative stereotypes with no basis in reality. Jeez.
So why don't you do that, fat cat? Maybe use your fiance or some other beta male orbiter friend.
When he says emotional tampon, does he just means that, like, women share their feelings with each other? You know, being healthy?
Friends out there.
Fellas, is it gay to not hold your emotions in until they tear you apart and make you perceive every social interaction as some sort of horrifying nightmare?
There as punching bags for your problems. In some ways, you're using me as a punching bag as well as the rest of the MGTOW community, and at least you're paying for the privilege. At least that's respectable. That way you can get rid of all the negative emotions you feel before and after you get shamed and mocked by all those other women during the holidays. I believe the only reason you're not feeling up to the holidays this year is because of your health. If that wasn't really an issue, then you'd probably be trying to sop up the holidays with a biscuit. I also know that you actually have your health issues like your scars.
Jesus Christ, I like that. I don't like, but I find it funny that this person apparently gave this woman who apparently watches this guy gave him a donation to talk about this video, and he's insulting her. He's like, yeah, if you weren't in the hospital, you'd probably be eating biscuits or something like a woman. Like, what? What are you talking about? They gave you money and you're insulting them because they are a woman? Really? Maybe this will teach that person that they shouldn't be listening to MGTOW people. That'd be good.
I don't know if you're in pain, but I think of pain in a very different way. I actually have chronic pain that comes and goes in my wrist because I get knots around the nerves in my hands, and I have to massage my hands a few times a week for an hour or two, or the pain is unbearable. As a male, if I was following proper male protocol or behavior, then I wouldn't be offering up this information, because as a man, you're never supposed to show weakness and you're supposed to hide your flaws.
That's called toxic masculinity. That's a bad thing. Stop adhering to it and be okay with sharing your problems with people. That's healthy. That's incredibly healthy.
Maybe Miss Fat Cat, the next time you have a health issue, you don't tell your family and friends about it. Or at the very least, you don't tell the female family members and only talk to the male ones. That way your secret won't actually go to everyone and you won't have to deal with the shame of it. Also, don't look at all the negatives of chronic pain. A week ago, I didn't feel any pain in my body for a few days, and it felt kind of weird. I got so used to chronic pain, and when I didn't have it, I felt as though there was something wrong with me. Or that the pain would come out of nowhere and blindside me, so I was hypervigilant as a result. As a woman, you probably have a hard time not sharing your health issues with anyone willing to listen. Why not share with people who are going to keep their mouths shut instead of telling everyone about the situation?
Jesus Christ. He's unironically, like, doing, like, 90s or 80s stand-up routines. Fellas, have you ever noticed that women be gossiping?
I don't know for sure if you're doing that, but I suspect it. I also know that for you ladies, attention is everything. I know that you can't resist telling people about yourself even when it's not the most positive thing. You can't seem to think of the consequences of embarrassing things getting out to all your family members.
How is it embarrassing to have chronic pain issues? That's not embarrassing. You should be able to share, like, how you feel and your problems with other people so you don't have to handle them all on your own. That's incredibly unhealthy emotionally and physically if it's taxing on you to that extent. You should be able to say to people in your life that you care about, hey, here's a problem I'm facing and it's really hard. Because even just the act of, like, sharing that with people can be cathartic. It can make you feel better. Maybe not physically if we're talking about chronic pain, but it can help deal with some of the stress related to dealing with that chronic pain, right? Who just bottles that up inside and pretends that it doesn't exist? That's not healthy.
And getting back to you. Maybe that's what the beta male orbiter thing is all about. They're guys you can use to basically dump your emotions onto like an emotional tampon, just to make sure that information doesn't get back to your social circles.
Again, sharing things, I was right with my guess. He's considering sharing any sort of personal information with someone to be an emotional tampon, that's gonna be a yikes for me, dog.
If a beta male is a loser with no friends and he thinks that if he hovers around long enough, he might actually get some action, he makes the perfect specimen to dump your emotional poop onto, without having to worry about it getting back to you.
Comparing emotions to poop is so emblematic of the problem that MGTOW types have.
Hopefully you're taking some notes, Fat Cat, with your fat paws. As for men, the holidays are something completely different. As a man, I've always found that being alone during the holidays never bothered me. What bothered me instead, when I thought about it, is all the people scaring me by basically asking me about the holidays and if I was going to be alone or not. Also, all those sad films like Trains, Planes, and Automobiles with the man getting left by his wife and having nowhere to go for Christmas. Cue the sad, sad holiday song and sad faces. For men, there's nothing sad about being alone for the holidays.
Did he stop the movie before the movie ended? Because the movie, like, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie, but I think he gets invited to come and spend, the holiday with Steve Martin or whoever.
We want peace and quiet, and given the choice between a lonely Christmas and being surrounded by women that look at you like a
Oh, his wife died? Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in a long time, so...
resource battery, and men that actually have nothing in common with you discussing the weather, it's a lot better to be alone. But for women, their instinct is generally not to be alone. Because in the state of nature, the woman that ends up alone gets eaten by the big bad wolf, and she doesn't have the mental ability generally to survive on her own.
You want to run that by me again, Chief?
It's eaten by the big bad wolf, and she doesn't have the mental ability generally to survive on her own.
Cool.
I think that women paint men into a corner in relationships when it comes to Christmas and holidays. Most guys would prefer to be alone, and women know this, so they often shame the guy by playing the fear of loneliness card. Then the guy gets scared of dying alone at Christmas at the age of 80 or some other nonsense like that, and therefore he'd rather hang out with guys he absolutely hates for the rest of his life.
Why do you hate all other men? I'm so confused. So this guy, he thinks, based on this video, he thinks women are stupid, vapid, emotional, frivolous beings that he doesn't care about, and he hates all men. He just hates everyone. I'll jokingly sometimes say, like, oh, I hate everyone, or what, it's a joke. I don't actually hate everyone. If you actually hate every single other person around you, you might have, like, depression or some other thing going on. You probably need to go talk to someone, like a professional, maybe to be medicated, maybe not, but, like, it's unhealthy. Like, it's not healthy to hate absolutely every other human being around you all the time. That's terrible.
Just so he might actually have the ability to have someone there when he gets too old and he's dying. Most guys will tell me, hey Sandman, a woman that's not feeling up to the holidays is pretty much trolling you. If anyone out there thinks that, then you might actually have a point. But you also have to consider that in this particular situation, it's Kobayashi Maru, or a no-win scenario for Fat Cat. You're not feeling...
I can't believe he's, like, citing Star Trek. Like, the most humanistic, positive... like genre fiction series of all time, and meanwhile he's just a big misanthrope who hates everyone. It's very strange.
Up to the holidays, Fat Cat, but you're still expected to go.
He'd probably be Barkley, but not like later Barkley, where like it's like, yay, Barkley, but like early Barkley, where he like spends all his time on the holodeck, and he uses, the holograms to do his power fantasies. This guy's a very Barkley.
Most people, the way they deal with unwanted social situations is to drink or take prescription meds or some other substance to take the edge off. Why do you think that there are actually drinks in Western social gatherings? It's so that people can relax more and become less self-conscious.
I don't know, man. Drinking is a big part of human culture as a whole. It's like food. People like... at social gatherings, at dinners, they drink. I don't know, it's a thing.
If that's something you have to do, Fat Cat, then why not do it? I've gotten buzzed before when I went out and it got rid of my anxiety. The trick is not to get drunk, otherwise you'll be paying for it later. That's one way to cope while socializing at Christmas, drinking the eggnog. Another way to cope is to go to multiple people's homes for the holidays in the same day. That way, by the time you feel like you've settled in, it's time to leave, and that gives your would-be enemies less time to figure out how they're going to insult you in sneaky ways.
Your would-be enemies. He's talking about friends and family at the holidays. And I understand sometimes, like around the holidays, depending on your family situation, there are going to be people who are assholes, or especially in this community, we have a lot of like LGBTQ plus representation. So I understand that there can be like familial conflict due to some people not being tolerant. I understand that. But he's not. He's like a straight cis guy, so he just hates everyone around him at all times. That's so unhealthy.
Other ways to deal with the holidays when
the saying goes something along the lines of, if you smell poop, once a day, whatever, but if you smell poop everywhere all day, maybe check your own shoe. The idea being, like, if you run into one asshole today, they're an asshole. If you run into nothing but assholes all day, every day, you're the asshole. I think this guy needs to self-reflect a little bit on why he hates everyone so much. Maybe it's not them.
You don't really want to, is to take a vacation during them. For example, take a vacation for Christmas and New Year's. That means you won't be saying hello to people and going from house to house during the holidays, and instead you'll be in some nice relaxing place away from your family and friends, where you won't actually have to deal with their emotional waste. A place where you won't have to deal with their anxiety because it's literally a world away. People always criticize me and say, you shouldn't travel alone and vacation alone. Ironically, I don't get any mental or physical rest when I travel. Instead, I get psychological rest and peace of mind because I don't have to deal with anyone.
That's mental rest. Psychological is a synonym for mental.
I can sit in my car for 5 or 6 hours a day and watch the world go by, with my favorite music and beautiful mountains, lakes, and deserts going by, and yet people tell me to travel with the girlfriend in my car. So I can do what? Lose my peace of mind. Fat cat, why don't you get your beta male fiancé to take you away someplace? For women traveling with someone, especially a guy...
He just called her fiancé a beta male. Thanks for the money, now let me insult your boyfriend or fiancé. He's a beta male.
puts them at ease and reassures them. So why not get some reassurance while you leave the gossiping back at home? If you're embarrassed about spending time during the holidays with people that are going to mock you and shame you, then go on a vacation during that time, and it makes them jealous instead, and they'll pretty much be envying you. The best...
Its advice is to... People are being mean to you? Fuck them. Go on vacation and make them jealous.
way to get back at people is to live a good life. You're in Europe, fat cat, so why don't you head over to Ibiza and hook up with the Venga boys, or get your taco down to Morocco and enjoy their beaches. If the holidays really bother you that much, why not just plan your vacation away for Christmas and New Year's each and every single year? You won't believe how many people I know that head down to New York for Christmas or New Year's to get away from people here in Toronto. Maybe you can bring your taco from Morocco and meet Sandman in his Big Apple in New York. It looks like you don't have to be alone for Christmas after all. You can be the cat lady of Central Park and I can pretend to be Kevin from Home Alone 2. But I'm sure that film is way before your time. Other things you can do to make the holidays go better is to invite people to your place and do some amazing decorating beforehand or prepare some awesome food. If you can't do that, then have it catered and watch as everyone stops talking about your flaws and starts talking about the awesome food that you're serving. People can't hate you when you actually serve them good food. It's a subconscious reaction. If they associate delicious munchies with you, then they'll forget about all the negative things that they think are actually happening to you. Serve up a fancy feast, fat cat, and bribe their hearts with brie. That's what I would be doing. I'd be putting on my chef's hat and serving up some kibbles and bits for the bitchy women that tried putting me down. I don't get jealous, but apparently other people do. I don't want what other people have. I want something that I can call my own. But people want what others have, and if you can make what you have something juicy, then they'll envy you and basically hate you. And you know all about that, fat cat, because you're a woman. Anyways, that's all I've got to say for today. Thanks again, Mighty Mighty Meow Meow, for your wonderful holiday season topic. Don't forget to smash the like button the way that you smash the self-esteem of beta male orbiters. Bang the bell and check out the MGTOW mystery link. Follow me on Twitter or like me on Facebook to get tomorrow's video today. Subscribe to me on minds.com.
Oh, this guy's the worst. How pathetic. Oh, he just... okay. When was this? Oh god, that video's from... This video's from 2017. This one's from 2013. This one's from 2017. Oh no. It's the same... Is it all the same guy? Oh god. What's this Christmas video?
This week in Toronto, Canada, the city I live in, we had a terrible ice storm. I was without electricity for almost 2 days. And there are still over 300,000 people without power as I record this video, mostly in the eastern part of the city. The trees all over town became frozen from freezing rain, and many of them came crashing down due to the ice covering them, and subsequently took out thousands of electric wires across town. The day after the storm, there were almost no women to be seen anywhere, except perhaps in the shopping malls, trying to finish their Christmas shopping.
Women be shopping again with the like 80s, 90s comedy routines. What?
Only a few shopping malls had power, by the way. Everywhere I looked, I could see men out and about, shoveling snow, cleaning ice off their car windows, and cleaning fallen branches off the road. But where were the women? With no power, they were inside by candlelight, like they had once done in centuries past. For the first time in years, all those useless candles and candle holders that women stash everywhere around the house had a purpose.
Holy fuck. Really? He has a vendetta against candles too?
And there were many cold, shivering women gathering around them.
And the funny thing is too, he's even admitting like the candles were useful. The power went out and we needed the candles, and he's still denigrating women for buying the candles. What the fuck?
The only woman I managed to find outside in the freezing cold was this ice-covered mermaid statue. It was sad to see women standing by the windows looking inside, like this one, only to see their husbands and mostly male children cleaning the frozen wasteland. They were all waiting for the eventual restoration of power so they could go back to gossiping on Facebook. Notice how the woman in this window felt shame when I took this video and decided to hide from my prying eyes.
Or maybe she doesn't want you filming her house, you creep!
I explored my neighborhood a little bit more on Sunday and saw only boys skating around on this outdoor hockey rink. Usually it's a mix of boys and girls, but without the electricity, the building providing heat and hot chocolate wasn't functioning, and this was the effect. There were no women to be seen anywhere. The day after the power went out, there were no women anywhere on my street. They couldn't make their presence known to anyone in the outside world. They couldn't turn on the lights to their giant mansions to show off to the neighbors across the street.
What? You're showing like suburban middle-class homes. What do you mean mansions?
There weren't even the usual ladies that I saw on a regular basis walking their dogs. I spent most of the day driving around enjoying the Christmas season and only saw women in cars on the major roads. With the electric grid gone and weather approaching minus 10 to 20 degrees Celsius or 14 to minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit, all public spaces became effectively male space because women couldn't deal with the plummeting temperatures. There were other guys out and about with great smiles taking pictures of downed tree branches. Some men brought out chainsaws and started cleaning the roads by cutting fallen trees away. Luckily for me, I have a generator, and it provided enough power for everything except the oven. I have portable propane lights and stoves just in case my generator and gas lines into the house went down as well. The only thing I didn't have was the internet, which I need to communicate with mostly my female clientele. So I got to enjoy the day off without women
Do his clients know he's a shitbag?
badgering me at home or work or whatever you call
I wonder what he does for a living.
it. I work as a freelance photographer, videographer / web designer, so I'm constantly
Okay.
being bombarded by women demanding I finish work for them immediately. They don't
All these clients want me to do the thing they paid for. Those bitches.
have the common courtesy to understand that they are just one of dozens of my clients. And I've learned to charge per hour instead of per job, because after many jobs, they become satisfied only to return a few days later and demand free changes to the work that I've already done. When I tell them it's per hour, they bitch and complain and demand that I charge them a flat fee. That's going to be the topic of another one of my video blogs in the future called Working with Women. Anyways, in the future, I hope that we have a real and severe prolonged energy crisis, because I know it will force women to depend on men. Since most women will probably be single thanks to feminism, men will be able to charge independent women whatever it takes to provide the necessities of life, and women will gladly pay it, because if they don't, they'll have to suffer through hard times, and many of them don't understand the idea of delayed gratification. They will probably spend all of their money on the basics of survival and won't have any money left over for much else. And since men will be providing the basics to them, men will be the ones that have the surplus wealth to spend on the few consumer items available for purchase.
He's like, okay, the power went out for like a week and he's having weird, like, frozen Mad Max fantasies of buying women with his labor. What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with him?
It's days like today that I realize that a harsher and lower energy future will be better for men in some ways.
As you established, women have all the candles, so get your light somewhere.
We will rule the built world, and it's amazing to see how a total loss of electricity and heating affects most women. They get scared and paralyzed and won't leave the house. It's almost like a deer in headlights. And their only course of action is to get their agents/husbands to go out and provide the basics of survival. Without access to modern communications, a woman's world becomes much smaller, and their ability to leash men with cell phones is greatly diminished. Men can continue to go out and communicate with each other without fear, but in a harsher world, women feel the need to have a man there with them for protection at all times from other men. I enjoyed my Sunday as Christmas came early this year, and my present was a day without women. I couldn't see their faces as the power was out in their homes, but I knew that they could hear my generator from many blocks away. And I was the only one in my neighborhood that had one. Most women would probably rather spend $1,000 on shoes than buy a generator for times of need. Even if they had a generator, how
Women like shoes. What biting social commentary.
many of them could pick it up and move it without the aid of male help? It's times like these that I'm glad to be born a man. It's also times like these that I'm reminded in how much of a consumer culture we live. But from my experience, women will never change. I'll leave you today with an observation I made while looking at a traditional nativity scene. I know some of you might find it offensive, but now that I'm a MGTOW, I see everything in a new light. The birth of Jesus is a fascinating socio-economic story. If we translate it for today's society, then God the Father represents an absent alpha male, and Joseph, the father figure of Jesus, is a beta provider. And the three wise kings that provide assistance to Christ during his birth can be seen as the state coming to help provide for the child.
He's unironically doing the God cucked Joseph bit. Oh no! Ah!
So the story of Christmas tells us that if a beta male isn't capable of providing for children that aren't even his own, in this case belonging to God the Father, then the state will come to the assistance of the child by sending him gold, frankincense, and myrrh. In this particular relationship, God is the alpha, Joseph is the beta. Mary gets all the attention from 4 men and a God. Anyway, I'll leave you with the sound of my generator humming in the background, with the dark street all around me, as the neighbors watch in disgust as I light my Christmas tree into the black of night. Enjoy your Christmas, and think good thoughts for Joseph, the beta male provider of Jesus. And don't hate me for taunting my female neighbors with my Christmas tree. Cheers.
Oh my god, that's so annoying. I can't believe this is a real person. How is this a real person? Ugh. There's one more. It's Creepy Christmas.
Hi everyone, Sane Man here. This video was brought to you by a donation from Mr. Anonymous, and here's what he has to say. Hi Sandman, please keep me anonymous. First, could you actually give out a shout out to Face and LMS YouTube? It's your new favorite channel, LOL. As for this video, I have 2 topics, so pick which one interests you. First, for the holidays, you could give your thoughts on Baby It's Cold Outside. That song gave Sarkeesian a stroke and cardiac arrest all at once. The second one is called...
This video's from 2017, and he's talking like Anita Sarkeesian like it's 2011.
Purity balls. The second topic is purity balls. It's like putting a kid in a candy store. They can promise till yesterday that they won't eat the candy, but of course they will. With that kind of temptation, they set them up for failure. They force them to promise something just to inevitably be let down. Cheers. Well, Mr. Anonymous, thanks for the donation, and I hope the wait was worth it, because now I've slotted you in for Christmas. The first link in the description is to the revised version of that Baby It's Cold Outside song. The song was first written back in 1944, and apparently it needs to be remade with a social justice spin.
That's right,
So I went online and found a wonderful politically correct version of it. This revised version of the original is about a woman that goes over to a guy's house and changes her mind about spending the night with him. So instead she decides that it's time to leave. The opening lyrics to this version are as follows, and I quote, "I really can't stay, baby, I'm fine with that. I've got to go away, baby, I'm cool with that," unquote. And it's recorded by none other than the CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, or should I just rename it to the Cuck Broadcasting Corporation instead, because it's the official government-sponsored, taxpayer-funded broadcasting network here in Canada. The male songwriter and singer Jose Leminski looks like he's a beta male that's been rejected while singing this song, and baby, he's fine with that. The song continues, and I quote, "This evening has been so very nice, I hope you get home safe," unquote. So you can see that our little buddy singing this song here doesn't understand that he's been either rejected or possibly been put in the friend zone.
Okay. Oh, I can't believe I'm fucking talking about this. Or, how about this? He respects the bodily autonomy of someone else, and when they want to leave, they say, okay, that's fine, because it is. What the fuck?
If he was worth keeping around, she would have stayed with him and spent the night, just to make sure that he knew that she was interested in him. But alas, she's heading home. By saying it's been very nice, she's lying, and what she really means is that he's a nice guy and not worth being around. You can see that look of disappointment in the eyes of Lydia, the singer-songwriter. She continues by singing that her mother will worry if she stays out, and he responds by telling her to call her mother. Her father will also be pissing on the floor, apparently. But since when do women care about what their parents think? Many of them actually have one-night stands in guys' apartments that they've just met. She wants to leave, but she just wishes that she knew how to break his spell. Actually, if she was under his spell, she wouldn't be going anywhere. Instead, she's more worried if she's going to take the front door or back door to his house because she's worried about what the neighbors might think. The song ends with a sort of donation request at the end for the Violence Center in Minnesota. It says that if you buy this song anywhere online, a portion of that money will be donated to the said charity. As for the male singer in this particular version, at the end you realize that he's most likely been friend-zoned, because apparently they're going to the Cheesecake Factory together and are watching Breaking Bad again. All this insanity could have been averted if she called her mother and told her that she wanted to stay at his place because there's too much snow and it's just too damn cold outside. Someone should make a version where she leaves home and gets into a car accident and falls into a frozen lake or something.
So because this fictional character in a song doesn't want to stay at this dude's house, and the fictional dude is also okay with that, she deserves to die by falling into a frozen lake. Why is the bar on my expectations for these people? There's no bottom. There's no bottom to the absolute ridiculousness of these individuals.
Oh, love.
Maybe Santa could
Give yourself some credit. You're a bottom.
come to the rescue or something and she could ride with him all the way to the tip of his North Pole. Workshop. This song is cringy, and there's even a line where she sings, "I have to say no, no,
Love you
no,"
too.
and he responds singing back by saying, You reserve the right to say no. The whole thing is painful to listen to, and I'm surprised that the CBC kept the thumbs up and thumbs down options available on this video, because you can clearly see that more people hated it. This song just shows me how little creativity and imagination feminists and social justice warriors have these days. Instead of creating their own competing culture, which seems like an impossible task, they're simply hijacking the existing culture and playing 1984 with it, replacing or erasing the words that trigger them and make them wail out with autistic screeches. We saw the same thing recently with Star Wars as well as Star Trek, and now we're starting to see it with women not only writing their own songs, but instead going out of their way to pervert and taint what's already there, so that men can no longer be interested in it. Women are destroying the stories and cultural content that men value and enjoy, because it's almost as if they actually have a problem with guys loving something more than they actually love women.
Oh
Maybe
my
women are
God.
figuring out that men are going their own way.
Everything's about me, me, me. Every single thing that happens is about me.
So they want to destroy all the places men can go their own way and feel safe in. In one sense, they're eliminating the beta man's ability to hit on women and simultaneously eliminating the pleasures that such men find in the escapes they have. It's almost as if they're trying to punish men when they hit on them if they aren't the right type of man, while at the same time destroying the culture those men have as an outlet. Now I'm going to move on to creepy Christmas songs. The second link in the description is called Top 5 Creepy Christmas Songs, and it's a video by Anita Sarkeesian where she cuts up 5 of the most offensive and supposedly misogynistic Christmas songs out there. So without further ado, here's number 5. Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You. But Anita says that it's just the tired all I need is a man myth. She says that this Mariah Carey song is about finding Mr. Right. But to me, Anita looks ugly and plain, even while wearing makeup. She can't find Mr. Right because he doesn't want her. So
Yeah, okay. 2.5 MGTOW Christmas videos is my limit. I'm tapping out. I'm tapping out of this segment. Ugh. So that's the MGTOW Christmas stuff for this episode, okay? Nope. This guy's trash. This guy is absolute trash.
Yeah.
Moving on.